On Saturday, we discussed Sakyaras, and previously it was Dasyaras. So now we've come to page 83 in our book, and we're going to discuss Vatsalya Prema. And now it's coming to a whole nother level. Actually, each stage appears to come to a whole nother level, as Rai Brahmananda reveals more and more of the reality of the ultimate truth and how it's divided into so many stages and gradations. The individual worshippers, the sadhaks, they are divided into gradations. The process itself is divided into gradations. It's not all one. This impersonal conception gets purified just by considering this variety in the devotee's desires to serve and please Krishna. This immense variety, as many conditioned souls as there are existing, that many amounts of rasa there are. Every single jiva has a different rasa. No one has the same. So there's these nuances in between. And this is what my Gurudev is very beautifully bringing out. So we'll start from page 83, Vatsalya Prema, the love of a parent for Krishna.
876. Prabhu kahe eho uttama aage kaho aar, Raya kahe Vatsalya Prema sarva sadhya sar.
Sriman Mahaprabhu said, O Ramananda, that is the topmost, but please speak something beyond this. Sri Ramananda Rai then said that Vatsalya Prema, parental love for Sri Krishna, is indeed the essence of all perfection. In his commentary on this statement, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Sakyaras is superior to Dasyaras, but one can find a goal that is superior even to this. Sri Ramananda Rai replied, Vatsalya Prema is the essence of all perfection. Srila Saraswati Prabhupada expressed this inner intention thus. Sriman Mahaprabhu heard Sri Ramananda Rai's conclusion that the ultimate goal is Sakyaras. Thereupon Sriman Mahaprabhu said that Sakya Prema is superior to Dasya Prema. When Sriman Mahaprabhu requested that he expand further upon the subject, he described Vatsalya Prema, love in the mood of parental affection. Up until this point, Sriman Mahaprabhu has said, Eho hai, this is good. But now to this he replies, Eho uttam, this is the topmost. Prior to Sakyaras being mentioned, whatever scriptural evidence that had been presented had mainly referred to the practitioner who comes in the category of an ordinary living entity. But here the discussion embarks on the subject of the Nitya Siddha Parakas, or the eternally perfected associates of the Lord. So this Vatsalya Prema is definitely in the hands of the eternal associates, the Nitya Siddha Parakas, or the devotees of Shanta and Dasya are controlled by Bhagavan. But from the stage of Sakyaras onwards, Bhagavan is controlled by his devotee. So we heard on Saturday, how the Sakas, they sometimes climb on Krishna's shoulders. Sometimes they say, what sort of big man are you? I can do just the same. When Kamsa was defeated in the arena in Mathura, all the cowherd boys, they came on the stage afterwards and they were all dancing with Krishna. But they were all thinking, we could have killed Kamsa just as easily as Krishna could. Krishna's not any better than we are. So having this mood of zero Aishwarya for Krishna is a very exalted stage. Therefore, they could connect with Krishna in such a heartly manner without the slightest Aishwarya. This Aishwarya creates a sort of, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada says, inferior complex. If you're feeling someone is so high, then naturally you are feeling so low. isn't it? If Krishna, God, is so high and exalted, then we are feeling so dwarfed and extremely insignificant. Yet if we're reciprocating without that Aishwarya at all, then our real nature and characters are able to flourish. And that's what Krishna wants to taste, that rasa. Some of those eternally perfect associates in the form of Sri Krishna's mother and father consider themselves to be superior to him, not just equal to him, but superior. They regard themselves as his maintainers. This is the mood of Braj. And they see him as the object of their mercy. They are providing Krishna with so many objects, roti, makan, etc., sweets. All of this is given in a mood of we are maintaining Krishna. This Braj Prem is so unique, and this is the Prem. This is specifically the Prem that Sachinandan Gaurahari has come to gift us with. First of all, by describing it. Because this Prem was never described before in the way that Mahaprabhu is able to do. After Krishna left the planet 5,000 years ago, what was the current? Where was bhakti being held? It was in the 12 alvas, principally. In the beginning, 5,000, 4,000 years ago, 2,000 years, it was carried through by the alvas. Then Lord Buddha appeared. And then later on, 800 before AD, then Sankaracharya, then Ramanuja, Madhvacharya, Nimbaditya, and then Vallabhacharya. The Sampradayas came. But there was no strong mention of Brajaprem because it wasn't understood. Who understood what Krishna and the Sakhas and the Gopis were actually doing, or Mother Yashoda was doing in Vrindavan prior to Mahaprabhu's advent? It was very, very confidential. Even Mahaprabhu, when he was establishing these truths, it was still confidential amongst his associates. It wasn't that all his associates understood immediately the nature of this Braja Prem, but through the mercy specifically of Rupa Goswami and all the Goswamis in our line, that these truths are just opening up, and they're opening up more and more and more. They're becoming more broadcast. They're becoming more understood by people. Because we have these tools today. We have this internet. And we can share so into far-reaching places. Mahaprabhu wanted every town and village to hear these truths. So we're able to actually broadcast these truths to the whole world. So it's growing, it's increasing at this point. Some of those eternally perfect associates in the form of Krishna's mother and father consider themselves to be superior to him. They regard themselves as his maintainers, and they see him as the object of their mercy. Their mood to maintain Krishna is called Vatsalya Prem, or parental love, which demonstrates even more mamata than Sakyaras. Sakyaras doesn't have the same mamata as Vatsalya Prem, or parental love, which demonstrates even more mamata than Sakyaras. Within Vatsalya, we find the firm faith and determination, nishta, of Shantaras, the service mood of Dasyaras, and especially the fraternal love devoid of shyness or reserve that is particular to Sakyaras. That means no Aishwarya. We gave that diagram the other day. Very beautiful graph that was conceived of actually by Bhaktivinoda Thakur and spoken clearly by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Yeah, so all of that, these gradations of rasa these considerations of rasa. I can't put my finger on it straight away. But we understand the gradation is exactly what is saying here. In Shantaras, there's only this nishta. In Dasyaras, there's a mood of seva, which is inhibitive. And then in Sakyaras, there's no Aishwarya. So this is increasing. And then in Vatsalya mood, that Krishna must be sustained. Such devotees are his complete protectors and will even punish, scold, and bind him. So understand what's unfolding here. It's a prelude to the enormity of the conception of Goloka Vrindavan. This is where we're going. Real.
Yes. Vatsalye shante raguna dasyera sevan seshe sevanera iha nama palan sakyera guna ashankocha agauravasar mamatta dikke tadan vatsana vyavahar apanare palaka jnan krishne palya jnan chari gune vatsalya ras amrita saman se amrita nande bhakta sahadubena apane krishna bhakta vasha guna kahe aishwarya jnani gane.
Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 19, verses 226 to 229. In parental love, all the qualities found in Shantaras, Dasyaras, and Sakyaras become transformed into a particular service called maintenance. The essence of Sakyaras is intimacy, devoid of the formality and reverence of Dasyaras. And it's because of this increased sense of intimacy that one chastises and admonishes Krishna. These are remarkable rasas. One with Vatsalya Prema considers oneself to be Krishna's nourisher and maintainer and cares for him as one does a son. The four qualities found in the other four rasas are all within this Vatsalya ras, which is just like nectar. The reciprocation of nectarine bliss between Krishna and the devotee is such that Krishna is completely subjugated by the devotee. This happiness is compared with an ocean of nectar into which the devotee and Krishna plunge. This is the conclusion of the Aishwarya Jnanis, those with knowledge of Krishna's opulence.
Maharaj, one question. It says here the four qualities found in the other four rasas are all within Vatsalya ras.
Mm-hmm.
Does that include the Madhurya ras?
No. Madhurya ras includes four. Madhurya ras is four qualities.
Yes.
So from Shantaras 1, Dasyaras 2, Sakyaras 3, Vatsalya ras 4. These four qualities.
Second paragraph you can read.
The four qualities found in the other four rasas are all within this Vatsalya ras, which is just like nectar. What do you understand from that?
Shanta, Dasya, Sakya.
Within this Vatsalya. So Vatsalya has to be counted.
Okay.
Vatsalya is one ras. Do you understand what we were talking about? These four rasas are within Vatsalya ras. Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, and Vatsalya makes 4. If it was Madhurya, it would be 5. So the next 877 go on.
Nandakim akarod brahman shreya evam mahodayam yashodava mahabhaga papau yasyastanam arihi.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.46. Sri Parikshit Maharaj inquired from Shukadev Goswami, what auspicious pious activities did Sri Nanda Baba perform so that Sri Krishna agreed to become his son? And what did Sri Yashoda do that led to the absolute truth, Sri Krishna sucking that most fortunate woman's breast milk? Sri Ramananda Rai then presented one more verse from Srimad Bhagavatam.
Nimam virincho na bhavo na shrir apyanga samsraya prasadam lebire gopi yat tat prapa vimuktidat.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.10. This is number 9th chapter, is the Dambanda Leela itself. Sri Shukadev Goswami said to Sri Parikshit Maharaj, O saintly king, the mercy that the Gopi Yashoda received from Sri Krishna, the giver of liberation, was not given to Brahma or Shiva or even to Lakshmi, who always reside on the chest of Sri Vishnu. So we're appreciating the absolute speciality of this. It's beyond Lord Brahma, beyond Shiva, beyond Lakshmi, beyond Vishnu. Here we see Sri Krishna being controlled by Vatsalya Bhav, parental affection. Despite being the Supreme Lord himself and full of unlimited opulence, he was completely controlled by Mother Yashoda's prem, and thus he allowed her to bind him. Who can bind him, who is unlimited, having no inside, outside, top or bottom? Krishna contains the entire Brahmand within his abdomen. How is it possible to bind him? Only by his mercy was Mother Yashoda able to bind him. However, due to excessive feelings of possessiveness, she thinks Sri Krishna to be the object of protection and maintenance, and herself to be his guardian and maintainer, and for his welfare she bound him. But no, this is not so. He was bound by Vatsalya Prem. This was his mercy upon Mother Yashoda. Such mercy was never achieved by anyone else, even Brahma, who is the son of the Lord, or Sri Shiva, who has emanated from the Lord's own body, or even Lakshmi herself, who resides eternally on the Lord's chest, can obtain such mercy as Sri Yashoda received. So Lord Shiva is manifesting from the right-hand side of Krishna's body. Lord Srimati Radhika manifests from the left-hand side, and Shivji Gopishwa manifests from the right side. Bhagavan has said that he is always subservient to the devotee. Aham Bhakta Paradina. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.9.4.63. This is what he's saying to Durvasa Rishi. Durvasa Rishi is being chased by the Sudarshan Chakra because he offended Ambarish Maharaj, Krishna's great devotee. And Krishna is, Lord Narayan in this case, is responding, Aham Bhakta Paradina. Even Lord Narayan is being controlled. In the pastime of his mother binding him to the grinding mortar, known as Dambandana Leela, his affection for his devotee is displayed to its highest degree. This is why we chant this, these prayers, this Damodarastakam every single day in the month of Kartik, glorifying this incredible pastime. With reference to the Sukriti devotional merits of Sri Nanda Rai and Yashoda, our acharyas, recognized preceptors, have said that both are eternally perfect associates. They are Nityasiddha Parikas. It was Sri Drona and Dara who are actually partial expansions, angsas. Drona and Dara, they merge into Yashoda and Nanda. Partial expansions, angsas of Sri Nanda and Yashoda respectively, who had performed austerities. Drona and Dara, they performed austerities. They had begged from Lord Brahma the benediction of receiving a relationship with Bhagavan in Vatsalya Prem. Lord Brahma knew them to be partial expansions of Sri Nanda and Yashoda. Thus Brahma, desiring to be the object of Sri Krishna's affection, said to both of them, Tatastu, so be it. If one does not have Braj Prem himself, how can he grant it to someone else? So my Gurudev is raising this question. How can Lord Brahma grant this benediction if he doesn't have that himself? He's going to answer this. The query may arise here that since Nanda Baba and Yashoda Mai are Sri Krishna's eternal parents, what is the need for them to perform austerities? All of this is arranged by Yogamaya to carry out the Lord's human-like pastimes. Lord Brahma knew that this incident marked the start of the manifestation of Bhagavan's human-like pastimes in the material world. It is also worth noting that when Drona and Dara requested this benediction, some great sages were assembled there who had faith in bhakti that is mixed with knowledge of the Lord's opulence. Therefore, Drona and Dara directly requested the benediction of Parabhakti, which automatically transformed into their innate Vatsalya Prema. Actually, no one can become the mother and father of Sri Krishna by the blessings of Lord Brahma. So already Lord Brahma understood that this is going to be the pastime of Krishna manifesting in this world. So he was hoping just to please Krishna, is saying to be the object of affection for Krishna, by blessing them with this boon, because he already understood that Krishna is going to manifest in this world. They'd come to the ocean of milk, they requested Krishna to come and relieve Mother Earth of the burden of the warring armies on the planet. And Krishna had responded, yes, you all take birth in the family of the Yadu and Brishni Bauja dynasties, and I will descend at that time. And Lord Brahma understood he will descend as the son of Mother Yashoda. So he already knew that was going to take place. Therefore, he gave that blessing to Drona and Dara, that yes, they would be blessed with Krishna as his son. But Drona and Dara, they merge into the body of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba. They are within the forms of Yashoda and Nanda. Yashoda and Nanda are the eternal parikas. The fact is that when the Ankshis, full original forms of Sri Nanda and Yashoda, appear in this world, their respective Ankshas, partial expansions, again enter into their bodies. So Drona and Dara were partial expansions of Nanda and Yashoda. This principle is indicated by Lord Brahma using the word tatastu. Lord Brahma is very far from the position of Sri Nanda Yashoda, so how can he give this type of benediction to another? He himself hankers to take birth in any lower species in Braj, a deer, animal, bird, tree or creeper, and considers his life successful if he will be able to maintain the foot dust of any resident in Braj. Actually, Lord Brahma prayed to be a stone where the Brijbasis wiped their feet on. But to have the potency to grant Drona and Dara the benediction to be Nanda and Yashoda was out of his range. But he could say that because he knew that that Krishna was going to appear from their wombs, from Nanda and Yashoda's womb, who were indirectly Drona and Dara, because they had merged into the body of Yashoda and Nanda Baba.
Tadbhuri bhagyamiha janma kimapatavyam yad gokulepi katamangri rajobhikshekam yad jivitam tu nikilam bhagavan mukundaha twadadyapi yat padaraja sruti mrugam yaiva.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-34. This is spoken by Lord Brahma. These are Lord Brahma's prayers in this 14th chapter, after he's stolen the cowherd boys. Just as Sri Nanda and Yashoda are eternally perfected personal associates of Sri Krishna, so too is their Vatsalya Prema eternally existent. Eternally. Thus the question may arise that if Vatsalya Prema cannot be achieved by the performance of austerities, then are the spiritual practices and the worship performed by those sadhaks who desire Vatsalya Bhav also worthless? If this is an eternal Bhav, an eternal rasa, if someone is aspiring for that, the rasa is already eternal. I'll read that again. Then are the spiritual practices and the worship performed by those sadhaks who desire Vatsalya Bhav also worthless? No, it is not like this. One will definitely achieve Vatsalya Bhav in service to Sri Krishna if one worships under the guidance of Sri Nanda and Yashoda. But no one can become either Nanda or Yashoda. So unless we beg for their mercy, desiring that Vatsalya Prem cannot be channeled down, cannot manifest in the heart of that sadhak who wants to have that same Vatsalya Prem. This chapter is about Vatsalya, it's about achieving Vatsalya Prem. The sadhak who wants to achieve, aspires for this Vatsalya Prem. While discussing this subject, it is also worth mentioning that Sri Nanda had 5 brothers. Actually, I think this is a mistake. He had 4 brothers, right?
Yes.
Yes, he had 4 brothers.
Together.
They're 5. Upananda being the eldest. His father Parjanya wanted to make Upananda king, but Upananda told his father, I am neither qualified nor able to become king. You will only find such qualification in my younger brother Nanda. Hearing this, Parjanya became very happy and announced that Nanda would be the king of Braj. All the people welcomed Parjanya's declaration. So this actually is taken from the Gopal Champu. Jiva Goswami explains like this. It's just a window into the absolute non-enviousness of the Brajbasis, that the elder brother could say, no, I'm not as qualified as my younger brother. Could you imagine something like that happening in this world? No, never. Always we'd want to be the best one, right? Especially the elder. The elder would want to consider that he was, because he's elder, so he must be better. But actually here is Upananda saying, no, the middle son, Nanda Baba. There's Nanda, there's Upananda, Abhinanda, then there's Nanda, then there's Sunanda, then there's Nandanandan. These are the 5 brothers. Parjanya is the grandfather, is the father of these 5 sons, the grandfather of Krishna. Parjanya actually means cloud. He's like a cloud of mercy, Parjanya. On the other hand, Nanda was completely renounced, and furthermore, he had no son. But as soon as Sri Krishna took birth in his home, all of his detachment was transformed into attachment for Krishna. His house, kingdom, and every object contained in them were all for the enjoyment of Sri Krishna. Both husband and wife performed their endeavors so that there would be no shortcomings in the rearing of Sri Krishna. Both became absorbed in feeding their son fresh butter, placing him on their laps, and caressing him. They chastised him lovingly, and Yashoda bound him to a grinding mortar. So I was saying on Saturday how Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba, they make all arrangements so Krishna doesn't have to do any work, basically, that normally a son would do. He was completely free. Nanda Baba and Yashoda didn't burden him, but Krishna was insisting on going cow grazing. Mother Yashoda initially did not want that at all, but still they had a big meeting and it was decided that Krishna would get his own way and he could go cow grazing. Nanda and Yashoda learned that the daughter of Vrishabhana Maharaj, Radha, had obtained from Durvasa Muni a benediction that whoever would eat the prasad cooked by her lotus hands would always enjoy good health and long life. Upon hearing this, with great respect, they invited Radha to their palace so that Krishna would eat the prasad prepared by her hand. Even when Radha was married, Mother Yashoda would patiently tolerate the curses and complaints of Sri Radha's mother-in-law Jatila, to whom she would continue to humbly send gifts and requests to send Radha to cook for Sri Krishna. Nanda and Yashoda loved Radha as much as they loved Krishna. Herein lies the greatest speciality of Nanda Baba and Mother Yashoda's parental affection. So Durvasa Rishi, he's an Anksha of Shivji, born from the womb or manifesting from the womb of Anasuya, the wife of, what's his name? The sage, he begins with a K. Can't think of him just now. Anyway, I'll think of him right. One of the sons born from Lord Brahma. And so Durvasa actually appears in all the different yugas. So in Dwapara Yuga, he gives this special benediction to Radha, who served him so nicely that anything she would cook would taste like nectar and increase the lifespan of that person taking it. So Mother Yashoda hears of this. So therefore it's arranged by Yogamaya, of course, that Radha can constantly cook for Krishna. We find testimony to this in Padyavali.
Srutim apare smritim itare bharatam anye bhajantu bhavabhitaha aham iha nandam vande yasya linde param brahma.
If anyone remembers the husband of Anasuya, Atriya Rishi, yes, thank you. Yeah. Atriya Rishi, yes. In a world frightened by birth and death, some people take shelter of the Shrutis, some of the Smritis, and some of the Mahabharata. But I pay my homage to Sri Nanda Rai, in whose courtyard Parabrahm is playing as a child. By this and other prayers, all rishis, munis, and Sri Narad himself have glorified Sri Nanda and Yashoda. Sri Krishna performed so many pastimes, but nowhere else was he ever bound. When he became an envoy of peace and went to Hastinapur, Duryodhana attempted to bind him with ropes, but Sri Krishna showed his universal form, and everyone in the whole assembly, including Duryodhana, became fearful. This wasn't the same universal form that he showed to Arjun. It was a reduced universal form, but it was enough to completely intimidate the Kauravas at that time. We cannot find it described anywhere that Bhagavan was bound by Mother Devaki or Kushalya. It's only in Braj. But he was bound by the hand of Mother Yashoda. Nanda Yashoda's human-like dealings, Lokik Sad Bandhuvat, with Sri Krishna are not found anywhere else. This is the excellence of this Vatsalya Prema that is manifesting in Braj. Of course, there's Vatsalya Prema to some degree in Ayodhya. There's in some degree in Mathura. Actually, Devaki, she did feed Krishna her breast milk just before Vasudeva took Krishna from the palace, from Kamsa's dungeon across the Jamuna, because she thought he needed something to sustain his life, his strength for his journey. So she fed him her breast milk at that time. But their mood of Aishwarya was fully fixed. And the same with Kushalya. She would see Lord Ram as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So nowhere else except in Braj. And how can we know these truths today? Except by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was not spoken of previously. It was not understood previously. The source of all expansions, the unlimitedly opulent Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, being controlled by the fully ripened Vatsalya Prema of Sri Yashoda, allowed himself to be bound, and by accepting this, he experienced supreme happiness. Indeed, he was extremely anxious to taste this Vatsalya Ras. In this way, Yashoda, who is so proud of feeling that she is Krishna's mother, became even more fortunate in this Leela, which combines both Aishwarya and Madhurya. It's Aishwarya because Krishna allowed himself to initially not be bound. This was Krishna's Aishwarya Shakti that was stopping from Mother Yashoda binding him. It was always 2 fingers too short. This was astonishing to Mother Yashoda and all the gopis present. They were astonished. This was a manifestation of his Aishwarya mood. They couldn't understand it. They were astonished. But they weren't overcome by that. And only when Krishna felt that Karuna Ras, that Karunamayi, that mood of compassion, seeing the exertion of Mother Yashoda, could his Aishwarya Shakti leave. And then, in that condition, Krishna allows himself to be bound. It is not possible to describe Nanda and Yashoda's pain of separation from Krishna when he was going to Mathura. My Gurudev speaks so often about this Vatsalya Prema. Actually, in one of Gurudev's first publications in the Western world, it was called Bhakti Rasayan. And in that Bhakti Rasayan, he describes beautifully the feelings of Mother Yashoda in separation and Nanda Baba. Because this is prior to understanding the sentiments and feelings of the gopis. This is the rasa before this. The next chapter will be coming into this Madhurya, this Kanta Prema it's described as. So this is a prelude. This is showing the extremity of Vatsalya Bhav. At that time, I'll just read this in. It was not possible to describe Nanda and Yashoda's pain of separation from Krishna when he was going to Mathura. At that time, Yashoda became like a piece of dry wood. Sri Nanda Baba quit speaking with others and stopped coming outside of the palace. Remembering his son, he simply would continuously call for him and weep. Immersed in the bottomless ocean of Vatsalya Prema, he remained searching for his son. Every second, he would turn his face towards Mathura, waiting expectantly. Now he will come. Now he will come. Krishna has promised he will return. That's the only reason why Nanda Baba is keeping the life air within his body. And Mother Yashoda, when Nanda Baba returned with some gifts from Krishna, Mother Yashoda just became struck. Actually, the gopis knew prior to Krishna leaving for Mathura that he would not return. Why is that beautiful Viraha Geet, as is described by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that lamentation of the gopis when Akrura was taking the chariot to Mathura? The gopis were throwing themselves in front of the horses, trying to stop. It's described Akrura had to very expertly weave his way between the gopis who were trying to... They had given up all shame. Previous to Krishna leaving, they had kept their love for Krishna completely confidential. They were married. They were wives. How could they exhibit such affection for Brajendra Nandan, Shyam Sundar, Krishna? They would blow their cover, so to speak, of having him as their lover. But they threw that to the wind, callously, in their attempt to stop Krishna from going to Mathura, because they knew once he reaches Mathura, he's not going to return. Nanda Baba was not in the same consciousness. He went happily with the cowherd boys, thinking, yes, we'll just go with Akrura, go to the festival in Kamsa's arena, and then we'll just come back. So it's a long, beautiful, beautiful, intricate pastime. And my Gurudev goes into it extensively. Very beautiful. How Nanda Baba, he's sitting outside the city of Mathura, waiting for Krishna and Balaram to come back after Krishna has killed Kamsa. But Nanda Baba hasn't been invited into the Mathura city because actually the residents, they don't want Krishna to leave. They don't want Krishna to even go back and see Nanda Baba because they know his feelings of affection are so strong. So Nanda Baba's bewildered now. because he understands that Krishna actually is the son, in one sense, of Vasudeva. So, and Krishna is hearing that from the Mathuravasis. So it's a very heart-wrenching pastime when finally Balaram and Krishna managed to sneak into the camp of Nanda Baba outside the city of Mathura, where all the cowboys are camped, and encourage Nanda to actually return without them. And Nanda Baba, he's like shocked initially. He can't even comprehend this idea. But then Krishna assures him, I will come back soon, just like he assured the gopis. And then Nanda Baba says, what will I say to your mother? And then Krishna gives so many gifts, and Nanda Baba becomes disturbed. Will I give these gifts instead of you? And Nanda Baba becomes completely disheartened. But Krishna assures him and gives him some strength to return empty-handed to Mother Yashoda, who's waiting for Halala to return. And when she sees Nanda Baba without Krishna, her heart practically stops, and she becomes dry like wood, like a piece of dry wood. So this lamentation, this separation, is all manifesting around the mood of Vatsalya Prema. This is the sweetness and speciality of this Vatsalya. And we even see in the Dambanda Lila, when the twin Arjun trees have fallen down, Nanda Baba says, I won't speak to Mother Yashoda for the rest of the day. So we see this mood also manifesting then. So there are so many occasions when this Vatsalya Prema really comes to the surface in Braj, but particularly when Nanda Baba takes Krishna to Mathura. Then it becomes just heartbreaking. So Nanda Baba is not even coming outside the palace. Remembering his son, he simply would continuously call for him and weep. Immersed in the bottomless ocean of Vatsalya Prema, he remained searching for his son. Every second he would turn his face towards Mathura, waiting expectantly. Now he will come, now he will come. When Uddhav came and tried to pacify Nanda Baba, it only increased his feelings of separation 100 times over. Uddhav said, "O Nanda Maharaj, come and wander outside for a bit. Your mind may find some distraction." Nanda Baba replied, "Please tell me, Uddhav, where should I go? Wherever I go, I remember Kanaya and become even more distressed. Every object I see reminds me of Krishna and pierces me like a spike. My misery and suffering simply increase, but my life does not leave me." This is Vatsalya Prema in separation. Uddhav said, "O Nanda, your son is directly Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord." Hearing this, Nanda Baba exclaimed, "Uddhav, I was thinking that you were extremely intelligent, but this is not so. Uddhav, you do not know the symptoms of Bhagavan. Does Bhagavan become hungry? Come on, if Krishna's mother is just a little bit late bringing a ball of butter, he breaks all the pots in the house. Does Bhagavan ever go house to house stealing? Our boy wanders everywhere in Braj stealing." They have remembrances of Lord Ram. Lord Ram was this Maryad Purushottam. He was demonstrating the potency of Maryad and Dharma. He wouldn't steal, he wouldn't do anything like this. So their idea of God is like Ram. That is their remembrance. So Nanda Baba, he's saying this to Uddhav. How can you think that this is... He's saying the same thing that he said to the Gopas after Krishna put Govardhan Hill down. And Krishna came out. The Gopas said to Nanda Baba, they approached him after. He said, "We think your son is God." Nanda Baba, he laughed so much. And he said the same thing to the Gopas. God doesn't steal, God doesn't get hungry, God doesn't get angry. My son gets angry, he's just my lala. So this Vatsalya, this is the potency of Vatsalya Prem, has to cover any smell, any touch of Aishwarya that may arise in the hearts of the Brijvasis. It's immediately covered by this ocean of Prem, and in this case, Vatsalya Prem. O my son, Uddhav, if ever there were a real father, then that was Maharaj Dasarath. You see, they remember Ram Leela at this time. After Sri Ram went to the forest, he could not wait even 1 second. Immediately his life left him. But see, Uddhav, I do not wish to die like Dasarath Maharaj. Before leaving, Kanaya said, I will definitely return. So surely he will come back to Braj. This is the same reason why the gopis kept the life air in their bodies, because Krishna said, I will return to you. If I were to die before his return, then not seeing me, he will ask his mother after me. And when his mother answers, my son, your father has died, he will be so unhappy. Every atom of their bodies is just to please Krishna. He will be so unhappy. Wherever I may go, if he is unhappy, my unhappiness will only increase. Every atom of their being is for Krishna's happiness. I will tolerate my own unhappiness, but Uddhav, I never want to see any unhappiness in my son. This is Vatsalya Prem. Never wants to see any unhappiness. When the twin Arjun trees down, Nanda Baba put Krishna and Balaram on his 2 hips and he walked to the Goshala to pacify them. Krishna was unhappy. The greatly learned sage Uddhav became dumbstruck. The parental affection of Sri Nanda and Yashoda was beyond his understanding. From the day that Krishna went to Mathura, food had not been prepared, even once. For whom would they cook? All the pots were kept upside down, and the stove was covered with cobwebs. Who would they cook if they weren't cooking for their Lala? Uddhav, he can't understand this. Uddhav is actually in Shantaras. He's a Jnani Bhakta. Jnani in the sense that he understands the Aishwarya aspect of Krishna. Uddhav is Krishna's cousin. His grandfather, Devabhag, is the same grandfather as Krishna. It's coming in this dynasty. Vasudeva, he had 17 wives. And Uddhav is born from another of those wives, as Krishna is born from Devaki. So they're cousin brothers. Uddhav is younger than Krishna. But Uddhav grew up imitating Krishna in a sense of dressing the same way as him, worshipping deities of Krishna and Balaram. He would worship them because his whole bhav and mood is, this is the Supreme Lord, so I must worship him and honor him. This Aishwarya, which puts such a distance away from the heart of this Vatsalya Prem that we're talking about. Therefore, Uddhav couldn't even begin to comprehend Nanda Baba's Prem. The greatly learned sage Uddhav became dumbstruck. The parental affection of Sri Nanda and Yashoda was beyond his understanding. From the day that Krishna went to Mathura, food had not been prepared even once. For whom would they cook? All the pots were kept upside down, and the stove was covered with cobwebs. What sweet and charming pastimes are found in Vatsalya Ras. Just seeing Yashoda's upraised stick, Sri Krishna's opulence and position as Bhagavan ran away. When Mother Yashoda looked into Krishna's mouth after he ate dirt, she saw all the moving and non-moving entities in the universe. Thinking this to be the work of some witch, she continued to caress her son, as her affection for him simply swelled higher. I must protect my son from this witch that seems to have come within him. Even today, the personified Vedas are searching for the foot dust of these Brijabasis. So, this commentary, my Gurudev is taking us to the highest limit of appreciating this Vatsalya Prema. So sweet, so particular, so special, so heart-melting. But we're going to come even higher to Kanta Prema tomorrow. So I didn't want to go further than this Vatsalya Prema today, because I found this chapter was so beautiful and moving and sweet. I just wanted to stay in that place. I didn't want to go on and open a new chapter straight away. So I think we can all sit in the appreciation of this Vatsalya Bhav today, and tomorrow we'll enter into Kanta or Madhurya Prema. Shri Rai Ramananda Sangvad Ki Jai. That we have reached this Kanta Prema or this Madhurya Ras. We've scrolled through, listening to Ramananda Rai suggest the topmost devotion, the ultimate reality, the ultimate goal Mahaprabhu has requested. Mahaprabhu himself wants to benedict the conditioned souls with this pathway. And we've discussed already how the unique individual souls will follow these paths according to their adhikar, their eligibility. So initially we discussed Varnashram to some degree, and then Nishkarm Karma Yoga, and then Sharanagati, then Gyan Mishra Bhakti, and then Gyan Shunya Bhakti. Then we came to Prem in a general sense, which is more in Shantaras, Prem, the first stage of Prem. And then we came, Mahaprabhu requested go further, and we discussed Dasya, and then Sakya. And yesterday we had the most beautiful descriptions, heart-melting descriptions, in preparation for today, of Vatsalya Prema. So this is the rhythm, the roll that we're scrolling through, all of these milestones or steps on the way ultimately to this Kanta Prema. So today we're starting Kanta Prema, and then the dynamics of Kanta Prema are going to be unpacked extensively, particularly Gopi Bhav and Krishna Tattva, Radha Tattva. This will be explained after this, just to go more deeply into this. But this ultimately is the topmost. So on this most auspicious day of Mahashankranti, we've come to this Kanta Prema. It's amazing how Krishna just arranges our readings, etc., in tune with the auspicious occasions on the planet. It's very beautiful. So, Kanta Prema, the love of a beloved for Krishna, 879.
प्रभु कहे एहो उत्तम आगे कह आर राय कहे कांत भाव प्रेम साध्य सार.
Sriman Mahaprabhu said, this Vatsalya Prema is the topmost, but please speak something more. Sri Ramananda Rai replied, Kanta Prema is the essence of all perfection. Kanta Prema is the same as Madhurya. Kanta Prema, one thinks of Sri Krishna as one's beloved. In other words, considering herself to be his sweetheart, to be enjoyed by him. She abandons her own happiness. Even the desire to meet and be with Sri Krishna is only for his happiness. It's described that when Krishna plays his flute and calls all the gopis are hearing that Krishna needs me. Krishna is calling me. Krishna wants me. It's not that the gopis ran to please themselves. They ran to pacify Krishna's calm. That was the sound vibration they heard from Krishna's flute. So their eagerness in pure love of an opportunity to satisfy the Lord made them give up their families, their homes, their shame, their chastity, their pride, everything. Everything they had, they gave it up because Krishna was calling them and Krishna wanted them to come. This is why they came. So they came in great, great eagerness and hunger. And as we've said so many times, they came alone. Each gopi was hearing that particular, she was hearing the sound of her own name, just like Krishna calls the cows by their names on his flute when he's calling them together at Terkadamba. Similarly, the gopis, they heard their names being called by Krishna personally. So they came to Krishna to satisfy his calm. To Sri Krishna is only for his happiness. This is the principal appreciation we must develop, because in this world, there's no such thing in the conditioned state. There's always a twist. We sometimes say that in this world, the highest love described is the love of a mother for her child. But it's because it's her child that she loves the child. There's some attachment there. She wouldn't do the same services for every other child in the street that she does for her own child. So that love is selfish ultimately because it's her child. Whereas the love of the gopis is without a tinge or scent of this selfish nature. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Vatsalya Prem can be accepted as topmost, but superior still, one more ras, which is said to be the essence of all perfection. This Kanta Bhav, the mood of lady love, is indeed the supreme level of Prem. In ordinary Prem, Shanta Prem, there is an absence of a sense of possessiveness, mamata. So we're scrolling through that chart that we put up on WhatsApp, where we said the different rasas and what was the speciality of each rasa and what was lacking in each rasa. So this is what it's saying, exactly the same thing here as that chart. This Kanta Bhav, mood of lady love, is indeed the supermost level of Prem. In ordinary Prem, Shanta Prem, there is an absence of a sense of possessiveness, mamata. In Dasya Ras, there is an absence of intimacy and confidence, Vishramba and Vishvasa. In Sakya Ras, there is an absence of overflowing affection. We say confidence, like for example, in this Dasya Ras, Hanuman doesn't have the confidence to eat off the same plate as Ram, or to wrestle with Ram. He doesn't have that confidence, even though he has that mamata, that possessiveness, but he doesn't have the confidence. In Sakya Ras, there is an absence of overflowing affection. There's a limitation to their affection. Every night the cowherd boys go home. Every day, actually, Krishna leaves the cowherd boys and goes to Radhakund during Madhyana Lila. So we see like this. And in Vatsalya Ras, there is an absence of freedom from shyness or hesitancy. Mother Yashoda is always very cautiously dealing with her love for Krishna. She doesn't very much chastise him. Her binding him to the grinding mortar was the extremity of her chastisements. Nanda Baba never chastises. He's always just an ocean of facilitating whatever Krishna wants to do. So there's some restriction actually in their affection. It's not complete freedom. There's some limitation there in Vatsalya Ras. Try and understand and appreciate this, what it's saying. Because there is an assortment of shortcomings in all the rasas, the prem in their respective rasas cannot be said to have reached completeness. When Kanta Bhav for Sri Krishna awakens in the heart, then these shortcomings disappear totally. In other words, all that is lacking becomes fulfilled, and the wellspring of the entire Prem Tattva begins to flow continuously. Thus it is the essence of the topmost goal. Srila Saraswati Prabhupada says that Vatsalya Prem is superior to Sakya Prem. Yet Mahaprabhu desires to hear still more. Therefore Ramananda Rai explains Mahaprabhu's desired intention by explaining that the essence of all perfection is Kantabhav. Actually, the real meaning of Kantabhav is the extramarital mood, Parakiya Bhav. Without this Parakiya Bhav, Braja Prem doesn't exist. It would be the same as in Dwarka. It would be Swakiya. But Braja Prem only exists in the gopis because of this Parakiya Bhav. This Parakiya Bhav is essential to understand. We'll discuss much about this as we go through. Parakiya Bhav of the Braja Gopis, which extends from Bhav right up to Mahabhav, whereas Vatsalya Prem can only develop up to the stage of Anurag. It's described that the queens of Dwarka only develop up to the stage of Anurag also. They don't go beyond the stage of Anurag. I hope you're able to all hear this. I'll move this a little closer. I have one friend who keeps on mentioning that my voice is not loud enough, so I'll try and speak more loudly. In Kantabhav, the gopis have the good fortune to engage all their limbs in the most complete mood of service to Sri Krishna. The desire to perform service is developed to its ultimate extremity. Bilvaji.
Madhura rase Krishna nishta seva atishaya sakera ashankocha lalana mamata dikyahai kanta bhave nijanga diya karena sevan ateva madhura rasera hai pancha guna akashadi gunayena parapara bhute ekadui teen chari krame pancha prithvite ये मता मधुरे सबा भाव समाहरा अतेव अश्वादिक्ये करे चमत्कारा.
Thank you, thank you. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Madhya Lila 19, verse 231 to 234. In Madhurya Ras, the qualities available in the previously mentioned relationships, such as attachment for Krishna, rendering service unto him, uninhibited feelings of fraternity, and the feelings of being his maintainer all increase. So Madhurya Ras is throughout Braj. Throughout Braj is Madhurya Ras, but we refer to the conjugal relationship often as Shringara Ras or Kanta Prema. So the general term is Madhurya. So all of Braj is in Madhurya. Even the cows are wanting to reciprocate with Krishna in a most loving mood. The heroine serves her beloved with her entire body. Hence, all 5 transcendental qualities are present, just as all material qualities manifest one after another in the material elements, starting from ether. First one quality develops, then 2, 3, and 4, culminating with all 5 qualities being present in the earth element. This union of the moods of other rasas in amorous love produces an intensified state that is quite astonishing. So we're being introduced to the absolute height of the very essence of Prem through these teachings.
880 Nayam Shriyonga Nitanta Rate Prasadaha Swaryoshitam Nalina Gandha Rucham Kutonyaha Rasotsavesya Bujadanda Grihita Kanta Labdashisham Ya Udagad Vrajasundarinam.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 47, 60. So this is when Uddhav visits Vrindavan. This is from the Uddhav Gita. Done. I spilled Mangala Thakur Ki Jai. Thank you. Okay. We even made a garland today. It's such a special day.
Krishna Prasad.
Krishna Prasad made it. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Thank you, Didi. Thank you. Yes, today we had a big festival here. We had a big feast. And we celebrated this most auspicious occasion. In the Rasa festival, Bhagavan Sri Krishna embraced the Brajagopis with his vine-like arms, and fulfilled all their desires. The mercy that was given to them by Bhagavan was not even received by the most loving Lakshmi, who is eternally present on the chest of Bhagavan. That mercy cannot be achieved by the ladies of the heavenly planets, whose complexion and bodily aroma are like that of a lotus. What to speak of other women? So now in this verse we're beginning to glorify the gopis, because it's in the gopis' hearts that this Kanta Prema ignites the reciprocal prema of Krishna. It starts in the gopis' hearts, and the gopis and their attraction for Krishna inspires Krishna ultimately to be controlled by them. This Svartha Rati, it has the ability to control the beloved. There are many different ways to explain this verse. Rotsava. In the Raslila festival, the word Utsava, festival, has a very special intonation here. That festival is the pastime wherein the gopis fully blossom after giving Sri Krishna complete happiness. Within Raslila, all other types of leelas are also included. From Ras, Raslila arises. Ras is performed on the platform made of rasa, or bliss. So there's Ras and Rasa. Bhujadanda grihita anta labdhasinam. Arms like sticks, which are nicely rounded and gradually increasing in beauty from the shoulders to the hands. With these arms, he embraced the beautiful necks of the gopis, and thus fulfilled their heart's desires. The gopis' hearts have been burning since their birth in Braj, with this Purvarag. We read in Ananda Vrindavan Champu this description that initially the gopis and Krishna were playing in the dust together. Then suddenly one day the gopis appreciated, this is such a beautiful young boy. And then Krishna began to reciprocate with their moods in a very early stage. Here, their worshipable predecessor Goswamis, our worshipable predecessor Goswamis have given the understanding that Rasik Shekhar, Sri Krishna, is placing his beautiful, playful, attractively decorated, delightful, extremely soft, gentle, and cooling arms around the gopis' conch-shaped necks, which are marked with 3 graceful lines. He is hanging there as if swinging with intense love and begging them to fulfill his innermost desires. O gopis, do not leave me and go elsewhere, and do not let me go anywhere else. Otherwise I shall be swept far away in this nectarine ocean of prema. You are my only saviors. Krishna is saying like this. So it's alternating the dynamic between the gopis' prema and the gopis' prema. When they receive Krishna's prema, reciprocates even more, and then it escalates. That's what's going to be explained. Prasada, mercy. Here, this means the qualification the gopis receive from Sri Krishna by serving him with their entire bodies. Qualification means the supreme happiness of intimate personal association with Sri Krishna. Not even Lakshmi could receive this happiness. What to speak of the Apsaras, the society girls of heaven, and the wives of the demigods. So this qualification to serve the Lord, they are, we've said before, the Kaya Vyuha, directly of Sri Radhika. And Radhika, every atom of her being only wants to please Krishna. So all the gopis have the same mood, ultimately, that core desire to please Krishna as Radhika does. It's coming from Radhika. Ange. This refers to the golden line on Krishna's chest. This line is in fact none other than his most beloved Lakshmi, who is eternally seated upon the chest of Sri Narayan, who is the Vaibhav Swarup, opulent manifestation of Sri Krishna. in relationship to what we've just read previously, how the qualification, giving their whole bodies. The gopis, they glorify Giriraj Govardhan, Hantaryam Adira Bala Haridasavarya, Yadarama Krishna Charana Sparsha Pramoda, in the Venu Geet. And they are glorifying Giriraj Govardhan because he has the capability of offering his entire body to Krishna. The gopis themselves are not even aware of what they're actually doing, this offering of their entire selves. They are just doing it. But they glorify Giriraj in his capacity to do like that. So Giriraj, they're saying, is the highest of the devotees in Braj because he gives his whole body. The gopis are saying like this, but the gopis also give their own bodies. Nitanta Rate, he who is passionately in love with Sri Krishna. When Lakshmi observed the great fortune of the gopis with Sri Krishna, she too hankered to join the Ras Leela festival. To attain the same good fortune, she began to perform austerities, yet still to this day her desire remains unfulfilled. She's in Belvan, and in Belvan, when we visit there, we come to the temple where Lakshmi Dev is residing, trying to enter into Braj, into the Ras Leela. But what is her, she doesn't have the qualification to give up her Brahmini Abhiman, her conception that she is a Brahmini, wife of Lord Narayan. And she can't make cow dung patties. So many disqualifications are there, even Lakshmi Devi. Shriya, even Lakshmi could not attain the good fortune of the beautiful Braja Gopis. This is quite astonishing. Nayam, the word ayang, it again indicates Lakshmi, and it can also apply to the queens of Dwarka. Despite greatly coveting Rati for Sri Brajendra Nandan's lotus feet, still they could not achieve it. They could not realize the uniqueness of Ras in Sri Krishna, which is not found in Sri Narayan. In this Swakiya Bhav, they're limited, whereas what we're discussing now, my Gurudev is making a clear distinction, because there is this Kanta Prema, we can say, in Swakiya, but it's not the same as what is in Braj. This Braja Prema has these unique qualities. Previously, my Gurudev discussed in Sakya Ras, and he emphasized that this Sakya Ras in Braj is so much superior to the Sakya Ras of that is described sometimes in Ayodhya or even in Vaikuntha. It's of a different gradation. So this is the last verse, or the first verse rather, when Krishna returns to the gopis after listening to their Gopi Geet.
881 Tasham Avirabhut Chauri Smayamana Mukhajaha Pitambaradhara Sragvi Sakshan Manmata.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10:32-2. So this is a description when Krishna returned to the gopis after they had sung their Gopi Geet. Shri Shukadev Goswami said to Parikshit Maharaj, after the gopis sang their lament of separation, Bhagavan Madan Mohan, who churns and bewilders the minds of Kamadev, Cupid himself, suddenly appeared in the midst of the gopis, wearing a golden yellow cloth, a garland of forest flowers, and a smile on his lotus face. The gopis' hearts had been broken, and they were bitterly, bitterly weeping. They sang that final verse of their Gopi Geet, Yatte Sujatat Charanam Buruham Staneshu Vita Shanai Pretimehi Karikasheshu Tena Tavimatadya Ratena Kimsvit Kurpadivi Brahmadidir Badavayu Samna. That the gopis are feeling Krishna's pain when he's walking in the pasturing grounds from the thorns and sharp stones, etc. They're expressing such a mood of attraction for him. And then Krishna appears in front of them, and this verse has been spoken. The particular image of Bhagavan portrayed here only manifests in Kanta Ras. This attractively sweet form constitutes the center of focus and attraction for the assembly of Sri Krishna's beloveds, the beautiful Braja Gopis. In separation from that astonishing, attractive form, the gopis experienced a mere second like millions of years. In the pain of their separation, the form that Krishna assumed pierced the core of the gopis' hearts and seemed to only increase their suffering more and more. This type of sweetness can be experienced only in Kanta Bhav, not in any other ras. So here we're exemplifying this Kanta ras.
882-83 Krishna Prapti Rupaya Bahuvidahai Krishna Prapti Taratmai Bahuta Aschaya Kintu Yarile Ache Taratama.
There are various means to attain Sri Krishna, and they afford many levels in the degree of that attainment. Whatever relationship a particular devotee has with the Lord is the best for him. Still, when we consider all the differences from a neutral position, we can understand that there are gradations of prem. This is an important point to appreciate. This is what we've been coming through the whole time, these distinctions in prem, in dasyaras, in sakyaras, etc. It's not all one. It's accommodating the unique individual natures of all the conditioned souls. There are many spiritual practices available to attain Sri Krishna, many varieties of tastes and many devotional moods also. In accordance with the undertaking of a specific sadhan, one will achieve a particular form of Sri Krishna. By performing devotion mixed with speculative knowledge, Gyan Mishra Bhakti, one attains the Brahmajyoti, which is the bodily effulgence of Sri Krishna. By performing devotion in the mood of reverence, Aishwarya Mishra Bhakti, one achieves Sri Krishna's opulent pastime expansion, Vilas Murti, named Sri Narayan. And by the practice of pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti, a person may attain Sri Krishna himself. So this is the knowledge, the gyan, the tattva that we're appreciating here. There is a gradation in the speciality of the form of Sri Krishna that manifests depending on whether he is attained by the devotional moods of Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhurya. For those in Dasya Bhav, he is the Lord. In Sakya Bhav, he is a friend. In Vatsalya Bhav, he is a son. And he is one's most beloved to those in Kanta Bhav. Whatever mood each person has, that particular Bhav is indeed the topmost. Sri Krishna is Akila Rasamrita Murti, or the complete personification of the nectar of all rasas, in whom there are 5 primary rasas and 7 secondary rasas. Sri Shukadev Goswami says,
Mallanam asanirnanam naravarastrinam smaro murtiman gopanam svajano satam kshitibhujam shastasva pitro sishuhu mrityur bhojapate virad avidusham tattvam param yoginam vrishinam paradevateti vidito ranga gatasagaraha.
So this verse is spoken when Krishna enters the arena of Kamsa, and there are 10 different types of persons are going to be described, and they view Krishna in different ways. So this is substantiating what has just been said before, that according to the different moods and devotional qualifications and sentiments of the various devotees or non-devotees, they will perceive Krishna in a different sense, in a different mood, in a different rasa. So this translation reads, O Parikshit, when Sri Krishna, the embodiment of all rasas, entered the wrestling arena with his brother Sri Balaram, the various groups of people present regarded Krishna in different ways, according to the mood in which they were situated. And they also realized that particular ras itself. The huge wrestlers witnessed Krishna to be as hard as a lightning bolt. The young women possessing a high degree of Madhurya ras saw him as Cupid personified, and within their heart of hearts they became absorbed in thinking of him with amorous intentions. The ordinary men regarded him as jewel-like among men, and the gopis recognized him as the gopas recognized him as their relative. Nanda has come with all the gopas to Mathura. The impious rulers considered him to be a severe chastiser of the wicked, and the older men and ladies who were like his father and mother viewed him as their most beautiful child. Kamsa, the king of the Bhojas, knew him as time personified or death. The intelligent materialists saw him as the universal form, the yogis as the absolute truth, and the Vrishnis, who are devotees and lovingly disposed to the Lord, honored him as their supreme worshipable deity. So, my Gurudev has described, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has also. So, if Rasamandra is watching, she can post this file now on this verse so that the devotees can look at it. So, it's describing there are 10 different moods here. So, the fury, Rodra Ras, that the wrestlers perceive Krishna, is actually, they didn't taste Krishna's real form, because Krishna, he is not a terrifying person, but the wrestlers saw him as such. So actually, this is rasabas, the moods of the wrestlers towards Krishna. And then a mood of wonder by the men. This is adbhuta ras, astonishment. And then the conjugal attraction, madhurya ras, by the women. This wasn't the gopis, these were the women of Mathura. And then laughter, hasya and sakya ras, by the cowherd boys. The cowherd boys were joking, laughing, Madhumangal was there, etc. They had a mood of hasya ras. Actually, Madhumangal is the embodiment of hasya ras. And then chivalry, vira ras. This is like the impious kings. They saw Krishna as the destroyer. They saw Krishna as the, in a fearful light. So this again is rasabas. So 4 of these rasas are rasabas and 6 are rasa. So then it's described that mercy, Vatsalya and Karuna ras. This was by his parents, seen by Nanda Baba. And then terror, Bhayankar ras. This was perceived by Kamsa. So this is rasabas. And then ghastliness, vibhats, by the unintelligent, the ignorant priests. They couldn't see Krishna properly. So they saw these different perceptions of the same personality, but because of their adhikar, because of their qualification, they were seeing and perceiving the Lord differently. And then the peaceful neutrality, shantaras of the yogis, and then loving devotion, dasyaras of the Vrishnis. So these 10 moods are there, but only 6 of them are actually pure ras. They're seeing Krishna's rasa swarup. The others are seeing this rasabas, what is not actually true. But there's another verse on the back cover of this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, which is describing the 12 rasas that Krishna embodies. So on the back page of this file that we've just sent you on WhatsApp, you can also see these 12 rasas are described. And I'd like just to read this today also in conjunction with this other verse, because this is bringing out the 12 essential. In Vaikuntha, there are only 2.5 rasas. But in Braj, there are 12 rasas. And if Prabhu can read this beautiful verse, Smasmin Durepi Amini.
Swasmin Duryepi Amani Shishun Giridha Udyateshu Smitayaha Tutkari Dadni Vishre Pranayishu Vivritta Praudir Indre Runaksha Goshte Sasur Vidune Gurushu Harimakam Prayasya Prasya Kampasa Payat Asare Sparash Dristir Yuvatishu Pulaki Bibrad Adrim Vibhurvaha.
So we're appreciating the 12 rasas of Krishna in Braj right now. These 10 rasas that we've just described are an indication of different persons' qualification to perceive the Lord. But in Braj, these 12 rasas are manifesting in Krishna directly himself. And it's saying, although Sri Krishna supported the great weight of Govardhan, he was devoid of pride, Shantaras. He smiled when he saw that the small boys were prepared to hold up the hill, Hasya and Vatsalya. Krishna is feeling that Hasya and that Vatsalya also towards the small boys. He spat at the smell of musty yogurt, Vibhats. He displayed tremendous prowess to lift Govardhan in the presence of his beloved friends, Sakya and Viraras. Krishna is experiencing these 12 rasas. We're hearing in the verse we've just read how the observers of Krishna are seeing Krishna differently. But I just want to make this point of Krishna experiencing these 12 rasas himself. He looked at Indra with red eyes, Rodra. Tears came to his eyes when he saw the residents of Braj tormented by the powerful wind and rain, Karuna. He trembled before his respectful elders on account of having spoiled Indra's yagya, Dasya and Bhayanka. So Krishna is the embodiment of all these rasas. His eyes widened at the torrential downpour of water, Adbhuta, and his hairs stood on end when he saw the young girls, Madhurya. May that Lord Girirari protect you. So this is an example of the 12 rasas experienced by Krishna. And here in the verse that we're reading are the 10 rasas are being described of the observers of Sri Krishna. So it's very interesting just to appreciate the nature of these rasas, because we've come now into Braj. We've fully come across into Braj. So I'll carry on reading here. Thus the yogis developed Shantaras, neutrality. The Vrishnis developed Dasyaras, servitorship. The cowherd boys, who are fond of joking, developed Sakyaras, friendship, and Hasyaras, laughter. Nanda Baba and the other cowherd men developed Vatsalyaras, parental feelings, and Karunaras, compassion. The ladies experienced Madhurya, amorous feelings. The wrestlers developed Viraras, chivalry. The ordinary persons felt Adbhutaras, astonishment. The fearful kings, Rodararas, anger. Kamsa developed Bhayankaras, fear, and the materialists experienced Vibhats ras, disgust. Sri Gurudev, by means of mantra, establishes this type of relationship with Bhagavan according to the specific taste in each individual jiva. The jiva also should then remain attentive and absorbed in executing the process of worship as given by the spiritual master until he reaches his desired goal. Of all the devotional moods, Kantabhav is undoubtedly the most excellent. So Gurudev is more or less recapping here, and he's opening out an understanding of the nature of rasa itself, and I've added that extra aspect of appreciating Krishna as the embodiment of all those rasas. So we have those individuals who are seeing Krishna with the different moods, as well as an appreciation of all the inherent rasas within Krishna himself.
84. Yatotaram asau swada vishasollasa mayapi ratir vasanaya swadvi basase kapi kasyachit.
There is an increase in degree of taste, pleasure, and intensity enjoyed in each subsequent kind of rati. The sequence culminates with the highest taste manifesting in Madhurya Ras, amorous love. So Mahaprabhu wants to have the highest essence explained to him. So in order to explain the highest, we have to go through the gradations previously. So this is constantly an illumination of the highest rasa conceivable. In his Amrita Prava Bhasya, on this verse, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written, Sri Rai Ramananda said, I had previously mentioned many different types of goals and methods to attain Sri Krishna, but now I will describe the gradation that exists between them. According to a person's qualification, he will follow one of these methods to achieve his ultimate goal, the Krishna Prema that is suitable for his particular level of eligibility. In every case, such prema or ras will bring about his ultimate happiness. So we've just appreciated these 10 types of rasa, and 4 of those were rasabhas. So we're getting a broader picture of this. The attainment of Krishna is indeed the only worthwhile and auspicious achievement. Of the 4 highest types of ras, namely Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, the rasa a person is qualified will be the best for him. When someone qualifies for entering one particular ras, he cannot understand the gradation when compared with another ras. Excuse me. However, when the 5 types of rasas, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, are viewed from a neutral position, a gradation is seen, and among them, Madhurya Ras is considered the most excellent. So we are constantly mentioning about these gradations, and this indicates to a sensitive person the personality of the Lord. This is dispelling any scent of impersonalism when we're considering all these myriad of different types of flavors of these relationships. How can anyone still hold on to an impersonal conception? So simply by hearing these topics, we will be so much purified of that trait of impersonal conceptions. So
85 to 88. Purva rasera guna pare pare hoya ekadui ganane pancha paryanta bhadaya gunadikye swadikya bhade pratirase shanta dasya sakya vatsalyera guna madurete vaise akashadira guna yena para para bhute दुईतीन गुणा गणने बाडे पंचप्रत्विते परिपूर्ण कृष्ण प्राप्ति ये प्रेम हैते ये प्रेमेरा वश कृष्ण कहे भागवते.
I think we'll leave it here for today. But this next part is going to explain again the same point of gradations through the different rasas which we've been churning over. And there's a specific reason for doing this, to appreciate the highest ras and to appreciate the speciality of the unique individual jiva, that his ras will be of a very specific type. And we've said before that there are no two jivas with exactly the same ras in existence. Everyone has a different ras. So in this world where we live, sometimes because of the governments, etc., they want to kind of push everyone into one mindset. This is an impersonal view. But by appreciating the enormity of these gradations, it just breaks that boundary or barrier of anything impersonal at all. So tomorrow we will open up more of this topic as we go through. My Gurudev will bring it to a more and more sweeter and sweeter and more sweet again conclusion as we go through. So Rai Ramananda Sangvar Ki Jai. So thank you, Bilba Mangala, for explaining the Mahashankranti.
Thank you.
That was very wonderful explanation. So all of us appreciate the auspicious nature of today, plus the auspicious topic that we approached today, and we're just beginning to understand the gradations and the variety of all these different rasas. And ultimately we will be appreciating this parakya more and more. So Rai Ramananda Sangvar Ki Jai. Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So coming to our subject matter of Rai Ramananda Sangvar. And yesterday we began the conjugal ras, or we can say Kanta ras, Sringara ras. We were discussing that Sakya, Dasya and Vatsalya, they're all in Madhurya. So we can't just say this is Madhurya ras between the gopis. Here it's called Kanta ras, which we don't usually refer to as Kanta ras, but certainly Sringara ras is explicitly the ras between the gopis and Krishna. So we've been discussing many aspects of the gradation of the prem, because this is how we can understand and appreciate the topmost prem. Mahaprabhu has asked, what is the topmost prem? He wants to go to the topmost. So we've systematically been working through the different various rasas. So now we come to page 98, and we'll just repeat the verse from yesterday, 8, 85 and 88.
Purva purva rasera guna pare pare hoy ekadui ganena pancha paryanta badai gunadikya swadadikya bade pratirase shanta dasya sakya vatsalyera guna madhurete vaishe akashadira guna yena para para bhute Duitina ganena bade pancha prithvite paripurna Krishna prapti ye prema haite ye premera vasha Krishna kahe bhagavate.
Thank you, Bilba. There is a gradual increase in transcendental mellows from the first rasa onwards. Each subsequent mellow possesses the qualities of the previous ones. Thus 2 qualities are found in the second ras, 3 in the third, and finally 5 in the fifth. As the number of qualities increases, also the taste increases in each subsequent mellow. Therefore the qualities found in Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, and Vatsalya ras all manifest in Madhurya ras. Thus, there is a nice example that illustrates this. The number of qualities in each of the 5 material elements, sky, air, fire, water, and earth, gradually increase one by one, until finally, in the fifth element, earth, all five qualities are fully present. Thus, because all the qualities of the previous four rasas are present in Kanta Prema, it is considered to be the most excellent of all. Actually, this Kanta Prema completely controls Krishna, as Srimad Bhagavatam testifies. That's called Samartha Rati. That Samartha Rati of the gopis totally controls Krishna. But all the other residents of Braj also control Krishna. Certainly Mother Yashoda, she binds Krishna. Baladev Prabhu, he will sometimes chastise Krishna. He's the elder brother. And the Sakhas, they will sometimes contradict Krishna. And the Gopas in particular, they will always be of a protective, maintaining mood. To this essential distinction between Braja Prem and Dwarka, Mathura, Ayodhya, etc. is so important to appreciate and understand. Then we're beginning to enter Braj. The gift of Mahaprabhu was Brajaras. So how to enter this Brajaras without respecting it sufficiently in comparison to all the other rasas. So these are the subjects that we're hearing about now. The five material elements are sky, air, fire, water, and earth. This is the commentary by my Gurudev. From these come the five corresponding sensory qualities, subtle qualities. Sound, touch, form, taste, and fragrance. We call them subtle because they're subtle. Sky, ether, possesses the single quality of sound. Two qualities, sound and touch, are present in the element of fire. Fire contains sound, touch, and form. Water possesses four qualities, sound, touch, form, and taste. All five qualities, sound, touch, form, taste, and fragrance, exist in the element earth. The element earth is the most gross, and it's going up to the most subtle, which is sound vibration. Just as sky, air, etc. are present in the element earth, simultaneously with its own natural quality of fragrance. Similarly, Kantabhav possesses the qualities of the other four rasas, starting with Shantaras, but it has the additional quality of utilizing all the bodily limbs in the service of Sri Krishna. Nijanga. Anga means limb. Niya means all the limbs in this case. Therefore, Krishna Prema has arisen most completely in Madhurya Ras, because this Prema, which is blossoming with Ras, accords the use of the entire body in service. Only this Ras provides the possibility of bringing Krishna completely under control. Vatsalya will bring Krishna under control to some degree. And then Krishna will escape his mother's clutches, for example, and his brother's clutches, and go to Kaliya Khrada, where he chastised Kaliya. Baladev told him that day. Baladev couldn't come out that day. He told him specifically, don't go to Kaliya Khrida. So what did Krishna do? As soon as he got out the door with the cows, he went straight to Kaliya Khrida. So Krishna breaks these boundaries. But with the gopis, he doesn't break those boundaries in the same way. He's more controlled by the gopis. That's Samartharati. Kantabhav includes all the services performed by the associates of Krishna. This is all the associates who act as his servants, friends, and parents. This is what I said before. Madhurya consists of all the prem in Braj itself. The Krishna Nishta, resolute steadfastness in Krishna of Shanta, the service mentality of Dasya, the intimate service of Sakya, and the pervasive desire in Vatsalya for Krishna's auspiciousness and for his maintenance and the well-being of he who is subordinate to Prem. All of these qualities are included in Madhurya Ras, or we can say Kanta Ras. Furthermore, there is one more quality, offering one's entire body in the service of Sri Krishna, which is exclusively available in Madhurya Ras. The love-struck Brajagopis, who are the heroines of this Kantabhav, have distanced themselves from material desires and even their own family members, having completely renounced body, home, and dear friends as if insignificant as dry grass. So this is their greatness. How can they control Krishna if they have some desire or connection with this material world? They can't. So we'll carry on.
Yes. 889. Mai bhaktir hi bhutanam amritattvaya kalpate dishtya yadasin mat sneho bhavatinam mat apanaha.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 82, 44. This is when the gopis and the Brijbasis, they visit Kurukshetra. This is the 82nd chapter of the 10th canto. O gopis of Braj, devotional service to me bestows bestows immortality upon all living entities. But it is a matter of great fortune and joy that you nurture intense affection for me, as this is the means to attain me. So Krishna is speaking like this when the gopis are in his presence at Kurukshetra. A discussion of the gopis' pain of separation is found in the account of the meeting at Kurukshetra. Sri Krishna glorifies them, declaring them to be supremely fortunate, since this Kanta Prema is the only means by which he can be completely controlled. The prema of the other rasas is not able to do so, not able to do this.
890. Krishnera pratigna drida sarvakale ache ye eche bhaje Krishna tar bhaje tache.
Sri Krishna has taken a solemn oath that for all eternity he will reciprocate accordingly with the manner in which one serves him. For all eternity, however we choose to serve the Lord. This is a wonderful, wonderful verse. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita 4:11, he is also mentioned.
Ye yatamam prapadyante tams tataiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashaha.
O Partha, in whichever way a person renders service to me, I serve him in that very same way. Everyone follows my path in all respects. The worshipful Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said in his commentary on this verse that whatever a person desires as the fruit of their worship of the Lord, Bhagavan in return awards the result accordingly. The sadhak of Shuddha Bhakti worships Bhagavan only to achieve eternal service to the transcendental form of the Lord, and the Lord rewards his loving devotee according to his desire by making him his eternal associate and giving him eternal love-filled service to Bhagavan. Bhagavan fulfills the desires of the impersonalists by bestowing upon them liberation or nirvishesh nirvana, whereupon they enter into the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. As the supreme controller, the Lord bestows the material fruits desired by the reward-seeking workers, the Sakam Kama Bhaktas. And in the same manner, he bestows opulence or liberation upon the yogis, mystic cities, etc. Of all these various attainments, service to Sri Brajendranandan, Sri Krishna in Golok, Vrindavan, is the best. So there is gradation when we look like this. Thus we should understand from the commentary to this Bhagavad Gita verse that the fruit of each individual's worship is not identical. Depending on the type of bhajan one performs, the fruit received is indeed in accordance with one's desires. So this is important for us to appreciate, that it's never all one, as we've spoken before. This is really opening out the absolute variegated nature of the Lord, the variety of the Lord himself and of all the living entities. All are individual. So we've said this repeatedly, because this is what the text is lending. This is what the commentaries are lending. Some learned persons have interpreted the phrase Manusya Partha Sarvashaha in this verse to mean that no matter what form one's worship takes, since all are on the path of worshipping Bhagavan, the Lord will give the same result to all. So many religions say this. So many philosophers are saying that. This conception is completely erroneous. Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures have thoroughly refuted the foolish theory that the deluded materialists, karmis, the speculators, jnanis, and the pure devotees, premi bhaktas, will ultimately arrive at the same destination. Wouldn't that be really boring, so to speak, for Krishna? Tedious.
Like for example, the famous all rivers lead to the ocean.
All rivers lead to the ocean. Yes, this is the analogy that they always use. So we're performing our devotional service and we think that everything is going to lead into that single place. But here, the variety is being emphasized so many times, so many pages we're hearing this. So we'll arrive at the same destination. Further on, Srimad Bhagavad Gita 9:25 states,
Yanti deva vrata devan pitran yanti pitra vrataha bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti madhya jinopimam.
those who worship the demigods will go to the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors, and those who worship me will come to me. In the above-mentioned verse, Bhagavan says, with whatever mood one surrenders to me, I reciprocate in a like manner. Factually, it is me alone whom everyone is worshipping. Truly, I am the topmost and only valid goal of all conceptions. But not the practitioners don't all reach the same conclusion. The pure devotees receive the ultimate bliss of eternal service to my transcendental person in the supreme abode. The impersonalists destroy their very selves through the attainment of nirvana mukti, liberation characterized by the cessation of material existence, in impersonal Brahman effulgence. For the Sunyavadis, voidists, I manifest myself as emptiness and nullify their very existence as well. For the gross materialist attached to manna, I cover their soul and make their consciousnesses like dull matter, and they attain me in the form of matter. In the yogi, in the form of matter, that means the form of a material body. Someone started to make a comment, but it went down too quickly. I manifest myself as the Supreme Lord and offer them all types of opulences in the form of various yogic perfections and liberation. That's in the yogi's case. According to the various types of faith, I sometimes give them birth in a perishable body. In this way, I manifest myself as everything, and it is only I who am attained by all these different practitioners. However, one should understand that out of all these attainments, service to me is supreme. Certainly the many paths followed by humanity all lead exclusively to me. So unless that ingredient of bhakti, devotion, is actually put in the sakamas, like Dhruva Maharaj was practicing sakam. He wanted a position higher than his great-grandfather, higher than even Lord Brahma. He desired that. So he had that, but he had to perform bhakti to Krishna. He was meditating on Krishna, as Narad had instructed him to do. So even the bhakti of the jnanis has to be there for them to achieve their desired destination. If one wants mukti or moksha, one has to have the fragrance of devotion to Bhagavan mixed with that gyan, then he can attain that Shantaras in the Brahmajyoti. Those persons who want to go to Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha is practically like a glorified, liberated condition. Sarupya, Salokya, Saropya, Samipya, Sharsti. These 4 liberations are there in Vaikuntha. So only those devotees who want unalloyed service to Sri Krishna can be elevated to Goloka Vrindavan, to want to please Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. So this is what we're hearing about. 891.
E premera anurupa na pare bajite ateva rini hoy kahe bhagavate.
If, according to my vow, I cannot fully reciprocate with someone who does bhajan of me, then I become indebted to him. This is stated by Shri Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam. Reciprocating with someone's bhajan means that when a devotee performs devotional service with a particular motive, then Sri Krishna fulfills that desire. This is known as Sri Krishna reciprocating with his devotees' bhajan. My Gurudev often used to say, when you're circumambulating Giriraj Govardhan, that Krishna is running behind to listen to your desires, ready to fulfill your desires of his devotees. So we should be very cautious about our various material desires, be conscious of them. My Gurudev used to say regularly, 5 times a day, you can fine-tune your desired destination. We may wake in the morning and desire a certain goal, and then it becomes somewhat compromised perhaps in the day, and we have another goal, and so on and so on. We should be constantly looking at our compass, so to speak. Where am I going? What is the purpose of my life? What is the mood with which I want to please Sri Krishna? This is what we're hearing about. This is what we're hearing about. However, Sri Krishna cannot reciprocate with both types of devotee. I'll just read that again. Another type of befitting reciprocation is where in whatever bhav one wishes to please Sri Krishna, he makes every effort to satisfy that devotee. Krishna is full of karunamayi, this compassion mood. However, Sri Krishna cannot reciprocate with both types of devotee, and considering that the perfected gopis do not have even the slightest scent of desire for their own enjoyment, what is the question of Sri Krishna reciprocating by bestowing great happiness upon them? They only wish to give happiness and pleasure to Sri Krishna. It's described that if Krishna offers them any type of benediction, they will just say they want the benediction to serve him more fully, to please him more. This is their only desire. If Sri Krishna wishes to fulfill their desire, then he alone receives happiness by doing that. He receives happiness by doing that. The gopis of Braj have completely abandoned everything to offer their whole selves to Sri Krishna. However, Sri Krishna can never abandon any number of gopis for a single gopi. What to speak of many gopis? He cannot even abandon one of his ordinary devotees. Thus he cannot reciprocate with the service of the gopis. Sri Krishna himself has accepted this fact in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:32-22.
892 Na parayeham niravadya samyujam swasadu krityam vibudhayu sapi baham ya ma bhajan durjarageha shrinkalaha sambrichya tadvaha pratiyatu sadhuna.
My darling gopis, your meeting me is innocent and immaculate. Immaculate, this niravadya, in every respect, because it is devoid of even a single iota of desire for your own happiness. It is overflowing with supremely pure love. Although the bonds of affection for for the members of one's own home are impossible to overcome, you have completely demolished them. Thus, for loving service to me, you have transgressed the moral laws of this world. Even if I lived as long as the gods, I would be unable to requite even one drop of your love, sacrifice, and service. All of you may free me from debt simply by your own gentle nature, but I am forever the debtor of your prema and will always continue to be. So, of course, this is spoken after the gopis have sung their Gopi Gita, their lament in devastated separation. They've found Sri Radha, and now they've come to the bank of the Jamuna, the beautiful, clean, pristine, washed bank of the Jamuna, and they've sung their Gopi Gita, Jayati Tedikam Jammana Vraja. And at the end of this Gopi Gita, then finally Krishna appears, as we're going to hear shortly. And he says this verse to them, Na paryeham niravadya samyujam. And this melts the gopis' hearts, that Krishna should say like this. Because actually they began to harbor some misgivings towards Krishna, which will be explained in a minute. The quality that makes this Kanta Prema the most excellent is that only in this ras has Sri Krishna allowed himself to fall into debt. This Prema Madhuri of the gopis is the axle, and Sri Krishna is the wheel upon that axle, resting and rotating upon that central object. If one removes the axle or the gopis from the wheel, Sri Krishna, then he becomes nirvishesh, or featureless, impersonal, in the sense that he can do nothing. The sentiments of the gopis are the cause of the increase in Krishna's beauty. So we understand from Radha Tattva how Krishna is completely independent, svatantrata. He's totally has free will, sva-icha mayata. He has these qualities himself. He's completely atmaram aptakam. And yet Radha Tattva, Shakti Tattva, is resting on him. So this is the example. If that Radha Tattva is not there, where is Krishna's increased bliss going to manifest? Krishna's already in bliss, but his increased bliss, because the nature of prema, it must be ecstatic, not static. It would be somewhat static, like nirvishesh Brahm, if that Shakti Tattva was not manifesting as the gopis to increase Krishna's bliss. So this is the position of the gopis. They are the manifestation. They're all manifesting from Sri Radha's Kaya Vyuha. We said this a number of times. So every atom of the gopis' existence contains the same desire, the same ingredient as Sri Radhika's, just to satisfy Krishna's calm, to please Krishna. They all have the same nature, their desire to please Krishna. Why and when did Sri Krishna become indebted to the gopis? The reply is that when Rasa Leela was going on, the other gopis developed pride in their own good fortune, and the daughter of Sri Vrishabhana Maharaj, Sri Radha, became sulky. To establish in this world the super excellence of Sri Radhika's mood of separation, and also in order for Sri Krishna to directly taste and hear the nectar of Sri Radha and the other gopis, talks in separation from him, he disappeared from the Ras Leela. There are so many reasons why he disappeared, but my Gurudev is giving this reason at this point. We described previously how the Ras Leela wasn't complete without putting Sri Radhika firmly in the center, and without purifying the idea of all the different groups of gopis, Swapaksh, Vipaksh, Tatast, and Surit. They all had to come under the one umbrella of wanting to glorify Sri Radhika, which through the process of Radhika leaving and then the gopis finding her, they all acknowledge the supremacy of her separation mood. So that was all manifested by Krishna and Radhika's desire. The gopis, absorbed in their moods of separation from Krishna, began inquiring about him from the trees, creepers, tulsi, and the Jamuna, but they received no reply from them. Suddenly they saw Krishna's footprints, and with them the footprints of a young girl. The other gopis began to extol the good fortune of that particular gopi, who was alone with Sri Krishna. They began to follow the footprints until they encountered Sri Radha lying upon the ground, unconscious in separation from Sri Krishna, looking like a golden doll. This is what I've just described. The other gopis pacified her. After this, all the gopis gathered together on the banks of the river Jamuna in like-minded groups, and while weeping, they began kirtan in like-minded groups. Now they're all on the same page. All the camps and groups of the gopis, they're all collectively harmonious in their glorification of Radhika as the center. This is what Krishna wanted to accomplish. The other gopis pacified her when they found Sri Radhika. Even Chandravali was amazed at the height of Radhika's prema. After this, all the gopis gathered together on the banks of the river Jamuna in like-minded groups, and while weeping, they began kirtan. This singing of the gopis is known as the Gopi Geet. Upon hearing this song, Sri Krishna could not check himself and came into their presence. And that's when he speaks this verse, Na pariyeham nirabadya. All the gopis took their veils, which were covered with kumkum, from their breasts, and laying them upon the ground, they prepared a seat for him, on which he was seated. My Gurudev describes, they actually made many seats, because Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has described in his commentary, there were as many as 3 billion gopis. 3 billion gopis. So these veils are very, very thin. And because so many of them mounted up, veil after veil, it became like a beautiful heart seat of the gopis. So they offered these veiled seats to Krishna. So he sits down in their presence, and they're all close to him. 300 billion. We can't even imagine 1 million people. Practically, it's hard for us to understand 10,000 people. What to speak, of 300 million. But this is the dynamic at this time. It's all achintya, because it was 300 billion gopis. They would have 300 billion brothers also. And they had their parents, mother and father. So what's that? We're looking at 1,200 billion populace in a little village of Braj. Inconceivable. The gopis, being situated in Madhurya Ras, proceeded to ask Sri Samasunda a variety of questions, and he cleverly answered all of them. But those questions that were completely overflowing with prema, Sri Krishna could not answer, and he became eternally indebted to the gopis. So the gopis asked 3 questions. We should know this pastime. They asked 3 questions. They asked Krishna, if someone is loving someone else with the expectation of getting something from them, they will only love someone if they expect a reciprocal reward from that person in some way or other, either their own aggrandizement or some monetary reciprocal or something. They're thinking to get something in return. They have some expectation. So they're asking Krishna. They want to ask Krishna, what is your nature of love? So this is the first, that person who is loving, expecting some reciprocation. And then the second is those who love, but without expecting any type of reciprocation. Even if someone is inimical towards them, they will still love them. The example of this is parents. Parents will love their children regardless of how difficult a time sometimes they can give them. So this is without any expectation. And then there's the third type of person who, even if someone loves them, they don't reciprocate with them. They completely remain neutral. So Krishna, they ask Krishna, what type of personality are you? And Krishna replies that the first type of person that you've mentioned, these are selfish people. It's not true love at all. This is selfish. They're looking for something to be rewarded to them by their offering of affection to someone. So we can examine ourselves in our relationships, these three. Then the second type, Krishna says, yes, this is dharma. If you perform this loving service with no expectation, no reciprocation, still you will continue to love. And then the third type, Krishna says, yes, this is like the yogis. They are in their higher state of liberated bliss, and they don't extend themselves in a loving manner sometimes. So this is the third type. And Krishna responds, I am none of these. None of these refer to me. Then he says very beautifully, I left you because I wanted to increase, I wanted to intensify the love in your hearts. This is why I separated from you. So Krishna is saying, my dear girls, I'm quoting now from the 21st verse of the 32nd chapter. This is the verse after Krishna has returned. Krishna has just returned. So he's saying to them, my dear girls, understanding that simply for my sake you had rejected the authority of worldly opinion of the Vedas and other relatives, and of your relatives, I acted as I did only to increase your attachment to me. Even when I removed myself from your sight by suddenly disappearing, you never stopped loving me. Therefore, my beloved gopis, please do not harbor any bad feelings towards me, your beloved. So in the next verse, in the next chapter, then there's a beautiful description here. In the first verse, Shukadev Goswami is saying that when the cowherd girls heard the Supreme Personality of Godhead speak these most charming words, they forgot their distress caused by separation from him. Touching his transcendental limbs, they felt all their desires fulfilled. So this is the example of Krishna's utter compassion and selfless nature. He satisfied the gopis completely, even though they were bereft for so long in that separation mood. And they, in a sense, challenged him by asking him these three types of love. What type of love are you? And then Krishna responds, I left you to intensify your prema. And then it's describing, actually, while he was saying this is the verse I meant to read. It's saying, yes, after that, then he says this Naparyeham Niravadya. And it's described that the gopis were looking at each other while Krishna was describing like this, and already they were immediately feeling some intensity increasing of their attraction to Krishna. Just as he began to practically apologize to them like this, he pacified them totally. It's a very beautiful, beautiful conversation, because immediately after this, there on the Jamuna's banks, Lord Govinda then began the pastime of the rasa dance in the company of those jewels among women, the faithful gopis who joyfully linked their arms together. So this is the mood that my Gurudev is discussing here. So where did we... Oh, my Gurudev's commentary. Our most worshipful Goswamis mention that not even the eulogies composed by Lord Brahma can give him the joy he experienced in becoming indebted to the gopis. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's created a situation where he's so submissive to the gopis, he's indebted to them. He can't give them anything because all they will ask for is increased service to him. At certain opportune instances, Sri Krishna has released himself from his indebtedness to the devotees of all the other rasas But when he attempted to free himself from his debt to the gopis in Madhurya Ras, he became even more indebted. More indebted, yes.
893. Yadyapi Saundarya Krishna Madhuryera Dhurya Braja Devira Sangetar Badaya Madhurya.
Although Sri Krishna represents the ultimate limit of unparalleled beauty and sweetness, still in the association of the Braja Gopis, his beauty and sweetness increased ad infinitum. So my Gurudev comments, although Sri Krishna's beauty and sweetness upon reaching their utmost limit had no opportunity for increasing any further, whenever the gopis and Krishna see one another, his beauty and sweetness repeatedly increase. This sweetness contains such inconceivable and astonishing power that when the gopis encounter his beauty and sweetness, they become filled with joy. And when Sri Krishna sees their joyful happiness, he becomes exceedingly pleased. Sri Krishna understands that he is giving happiness to the gopis, and the gopis become joyful because they know that their service is giving him happiness. In this mutual dealing of pleasing one another, there exists an eternal rivalry. How amazing. Okay, 894.
894. Tatrasi subhe, tatrasi susubhe, tabir Bhagavan Devaki Sutaha, Madhye Maninam, Harimanam, Maha Marakato Yatha.
In the midst, this is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-6. This is the last chapter of the Rasa Lila, Rasa Panchadiya. In the midst of the dancing gopis, Bhagavan Sri Krishna appears most beautiful, like an exquisite sapphire in the midst of golden ornaments. Haimanam, looking like a jewel encrusted in a golden necklace. Maha Marakata, a brilliant blue sapphire. Markata, a brilliant blue sapphire. The gopis resemble golden beads, and Sri Krishna, due to his dark bodily effulgence, appears like a blue sapphire. Madhye Maninam Yata, as a blue sapphire appears beautiful when set in a golden necklace, so the sapphire-like Sri Krishna is exquisite when surrounded by the golden ornament like gopis. Tatra Shushubhi. While Maharas was going on, both Sri Krishna surrounded by the gopis and the gopis surrounded by Sri Krishna appeared extraordinarily beautiful. In fact, Sri Krishna's natural beauty and sweetness were unparalleled, but being in the presence of his special associates, his beauty and sweetness increased. Only amidst the beauty of the gopis does he reveal the summit of his beauty and sweetness. So now we're getting to the core of the answer that Mahaprabhu is seeking. This must be the highest ultimate truth. When Sri Krishna went to Dwarka, he experienced complete absorption in the emotions of Braj and went mad. When Lord Brahma saw him in this condition, he created another Vrindavan named Nava Vrindavan to revive him from his internal state. While he was in Nava Vrindavan, he looked upon the statue of the daughter of Sri Vrishabhana Maharaj, surrounded by her friends. At that time, his nature as the very charmer of Cupid himself was enhanced even more. When Padma, Kamsa's mother, saw this form, she could not check herself, and in Kantabhav she ran towards Sri Krishna. Finally, Mother Rohini caught hold of her. This Padma, she's like, the little puggly, little not balanced. Mother of Kamsa. She was actually attacked by a demon to give birth to Kamsa. Her son She's the wife of Ugrasen. This is the wife of the king, Ugrasen. But she's always previously complaining about the Brijbasis, because the Brijbasis kept Krishna in their presence for so long. Finally, Mother Rohini caught hold of her. Bhagavan, you can say.
Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yasashasriyaha jnana vairagya yo chaiva sannam bhaga itingana.
Sri Bhagavan is the supreme truth, Paramatattva, who is fully endowed with 6 inconceivable qualities: complete wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Commentary. Regarding the incarnations, some are portions of Karnadakshayi Mahavishnu, Vishnu lying on the causal ocean, and others are empowered incarnations. According to Srimad Bhagavad Gita 4.7,
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham.
O Bharat, whenever there is decline in religious practice and an increase of irreligion, I personally descend. The incarnations of Bhagavan appear in every millennium, yuga, in order to protect the earth when it is oppressed by the demons. Even Mahavishnu, who is the root of all these incarnations and the origin of the other Purusha avatars, is but a plenary portion of Brajendra Nandan Sri Krishna. This is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yete cham sakala pumsa krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam mrudayanti yuge yuge.
This is from the 1st canto, 3rd chapter, 28th verse. At this point, a question may arise. When the Rasa Leela is saturated with unlimited sweetness, why has the word Bhagavan, which denotes opulence, been used here? Tatrati shushubi tobir Bhagavan devaki sutaha. The recollection comes by understanding that there were many different types of listeners in the assembly of Sri Parikshit Maharaj. There were karmis, jnanis, yogis, tapasvis, ascetics, or performers of various types of austerities, devotees of mixed moods, and pure devotees, in order that those seated at this gathering would not think Sri Krishna to be an ordinary mortal and his pastimes, associates, and holy abode to be in any way mundane. The word Bhagavan has been used. It is only Bhagavan himself who may enact pastimes such as these. So this word Bhagavan had to be used in order to pacify the various karmis, jnanis, yogis, etc., who were listening to this conversation between Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit. Unless Bhagavan is respectfully addressed, the karmis and jnanis, they won't appreciate this Braja Ras, because they were not sufficiently educated and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not manifest to bestow this Braja Ras on the populace of the world. Here our worshipful Goswamis have presented the additional Siddhanta that it is not possible for Bhagavan to perform any pastime without the foundation of Aishwarya opulence. So this is going to be interesting. It is never possible for Sri Krishna to divest himself of his opulence in any condition. However, because of excessive sweetness or the profuse overflowing of that Madhurya in the pastimes of Braj, the Aishwarya becomes integrated into Madhurya. In other words, the Aishwarya is still there. Thus, in order to temper or pacify unqualified persons, opulence is sometimes shown, but then it immediately becomes hidden once more, just as a blade of grass in a large pot of boiling milk may be seen for a moment before again being submerged in the unlimited ocean of sweetness. So that Aishwarya is there in more quantity than it is in Dwarka or Mathura, but because of the immensity of the quantity of Madhurya, it becomes submerged in that. So this is how we are always understanding this. Opulence, Aishwarya, in Braj. Devaki Sutta, it is definitely incorrect to take this word as an indication that Krishna, who is performing the Ras Leela, is the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. Here, Sri Sukadev Goswami is actually indicating the son of Yashoda. In his commentary, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has also directly explained that another name of Yashoda was Devaki. Evidence of this is found in the Brihat Vishnu Purana.
Dve namni Nanda Bharyaya Yashoda Devaki iti cha ata sakyam abhutasya devakya shauri jayaya.
The wife of Nanda had two names, Yashoda and also Devaki. Because of their natural friendship, she, the wife of Nanda, and Devaki, the wife of Sauri, Vasudeva, share the same name. So remember this. Sometimes it's referring to Krishna as being the son of Devaki, but that doesn't mean Devaki in Mathura. This is definitely referring to Mother Yashoda. Only one Krishna danced with countless millions of gopis, assuming many forms as there were gopis. It is also stated that Sri Krishna danced with such velocity that just as the whirling of a burning torch is in a complete circle gives the appearance of an unbroken circle of fire, he appeared simultaneously at the side of each of the countless gopis, which is remarkable because he was adjusting their dresses, wiping the perspiration from them, sometimes tying their anklet together. He was touching them, embracing them, and so on. At the same time, it's only one swirling around. Otherwise, it would break the idea of, if Krishna expanded, that would put the whole Ras Leela into an Aishwarya conception, which it's not. It's fully Madhurya. But Krishna has the achintya ability to spin around so fast, simultaneously interacting as if he was there with each gopi at the same time for the performance of the rasa. So this is Krishna's opulence. At the same time, it's being covered by Madhurya.
895 Prabhu kahe ye sadhyavadi sunishchaya kripa kori kaha yadi aage kichu hai.
Srimad Mahaprabhu replied, this conclusion that Kanta Prema is certainly the highest limit of perfection is incontrovertible. However, Sri Rai, please speak more if there is something else. So he's reached the limit, but now he's asking Rai Ramananda if there's anything more.
896 Rai kahe ihar aage puche hen jane etadina nahi jani achaya bhuvane.
I think that word incontrovertible should be inconceivable. Would have been a better word there. Sri Rai Ramananda replied, until this day, I did not know anyone within the three worlds who could inquire beyond this. So understand what sort of gifts we're getting from this Rai Ramananda Sangbad. Rai Ramananda himself, who is so versed in the precepts of Ras Tattva, Siddhanta, etc., can't imagine something beyond this. So this is very clear that Mahaprabhu is empowering Rai Ramananda like a puppet and wanting to hear these truths spoken back to him for our sake today. We are hearing these truths today. This was the gift of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu knew these truths, this Sangvad would be extensively spoken down the ages in Kali Yuga. And he deliberately is setting this trail, this track of subsequent steps leading to ultimately glorification of the Sakis, of Saki Prem, Gopi Prem. This is what we're hearing, Gopi Prem. It's not going to include Manjari Prem. Manjari Prem will be described by the Acharyas after this. But Mahaprabhu himself, he wanted to experience and wake up this Saki Prem within himself. He's carrying that potential of that Saki Prem of Sri Radha himself. And none other than Vishaka was able to do that so gloriously. So this is the intention of these descriptions, bringing us to this highest appreciation of Saki Prem. These gopis who had left everything to come to the service of Sri, and how Krishna is reciprocating with them. So this is the topmost. This is the ultimate truth of all reality. And this is ultimately what this whole Ramananda Rai Sangbad is about. And our Bhaktivedanta Swami, he writes that beautiful title of this book is The Search of the Ultimate Goal of Life. The ultimate goal of life means the highest possible conception. So this is what we're hearing. So Rai Ramananda Sangbad Ki Jai. Go Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.